familiar with the movie Field of Dreams? Man, I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit mad at Kevin Costner for making that movie because of this whole concept of if you build it, they will come. To me, that's a pretty dangerous concept for a potential small business owner, for an entrepreneur such as yourself. And if you think back to that movie Field of Dreams, yeah, he built it and yeah, they came, but who was it that came? It was a bunch of figments of Kevin Costner's imagination. They didn't really come. And those are not the clients you want. You want real clients that are going to spend real money at your real business. So the purpose of this section is to help you be a little bit skeptical of this if I build it, they will come model. And I want to talk to you about ways that you can drive revenue for your business. And I would loosely put all of the revenue generating strategies for small business into two categories. The first one would be advertising and marketing strategies. And the second one would be selling strategies. Now, it's my personal belief that a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs spend a lot of time focusing on advertising and marketing. They don't spend nearly enough time thinking about sales and how they might actually generate revenues with a sales strategy for their business. So I want to talk a little bit about what the difference is and what that means to you as a potential small business owner. As a general rule, advertising and marketing messages tend to be static messages, one to many. You deliver one message and everybody that sees it sees the same message. As a general rule, selling messages tend to be a little bit more dynamic and they tend to change a little bit based on feedback. They tend to be more powerful messages, in part because they're one-to-one. I would also tell you that I think that there is a continuum of purchasing decisions that ranges from the really, really simple to the really, really complex. Over here, maybe we have the example of buying a box of cereal. You're already standing in the cereal aisle at your local grocery store and you know you want to buy a box of cereal and maybe you think you want something that tastes great. Well, Tony the Tiger has been telling you for years that Frosted Flakes in fact taste great. And so that kind of a simple message can impact a simple purchasing decision pretty effectively. In this case, it's not a decision that you have a ton of investment in. You spend $4 on a box of Frosted Flakes, and what happens if you don't like it? Well, you feed the rest of the box to your dog, or you give it to your neighbor, or you throw it in the trash can, and next week you come back again and maybe you try Frosted Flakes or Crunch Berries or Lucky Charms. And that's okay for a simple purchasing decision. But what I would tell you is that a lot of small business people underestimate the complexity of the purchasing decision related to their product or service. I think a lot of small business people operate in a more complex space. For example, for an extreme example, let's look at somebody like a kitchen renovating contractor. If you're going to have your kitchen renovated, you probably know that you could easily spend $30,000, $50,000, maybe even more. And this is a pretty important decision to make, not one to take lightly. The person that you select is going to potentially spend a lot of time in your home, potentially when you're not there even. So it's got to be somebody that you can trust. Not every small business is quite at that extreme of complexity, but I think a lot of small business people don't understand exactly where they are on that scale. They overestimate the ability of these advertising and marketing messages to influence their potential clients. It is my belief that a lot of small business owners spend way too much time on the simple messaging and not enough time on the one-to-one messaging with their clients. This can be pretty dangerous, I think. A lot of small businesses view this advertising and marketing as this sort of mysterious black box, and they just pay and they give it over to somebody else and they hire a marketing person and they throw money at it, at this black box, and they hope that business comes out the other end. So they spend some money on newspaper ads or Yellow Pages ads, and then they wait by the phone and they think, man, the more money I spend, the more the phone's going to ring. And they keep spending money and the phone doesn't ring and they don't know why. It is my strong belief that most small business owners would be wise to understand the sales process a little bit better and to approach their business from that perspective. Another key difference between advertising strategies and sales strategies is that with sales strategies, you control the follow-up. With advertising and marketing, you don't know exactly who saw the message or how many times they saw it, and so it's hard to follow up with those people and to reach the same people the second time, third time, fourth time. But with selling strategies, that's exactly what you're doing. You're reaching directly out to your sales prospects multiple times. In business school, they'll talk a lot about the two main variables when it comes to advertising, and those variables are scope, who sees your ad, and frequency, how many times they see it. So if you think about scope, maybe the gold standard there would be a Super Bowl ad, and if you had enough millions of dollars, you could run a Super Bowl ad for your small business, and for about 15 seconds, everybody in the world would know who you were until the Budweiser frogs came on and everybody forgot about you entirely. Studies show over and over again that frequency is actually a much more important variable when it comes to awareness of your business. It's not so much who sees it, but how many times they see it. As Americans, we're inundated with somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 marketing messages a day, from the golden arches on the McDonald's on 6th Street to the blue Ford Oval on the grill of the car that we walk by in the parking lot. And so frequency is actually, I think, an underrated element to awareness. The beauty of using sales strategies is that you actually get a better opportunity to control the frequency of your message and who actually sees that message. A sales strategy has 4 basic elements: prospecting, establishing a dialogue, overcoming objections, and closing the deal. I think that most small businesses struggle with those first 2 elements, prospecting and establishing a dialogue. So if I were a small business owner, maybe I'm doing kitchen renovations, maybe the first thing that I want to do is establish some type of a method of prospecting, something that's repeatable, something that I can do over and over again. Maybe I look through the newspaper and find the new mortgages issued, and I think maybe people who are moving into new houses are likely to want kitchens renovated. Maybe I would also connect to potential linkers, maybe real estate agents. It could be that real estate agents come into contact with people either who are selling houses and they feel like the house won't sell without a kitchen renovation, or people who have just bought houses and they already know that, well, the kitchen isn't something that they're likely to stick with. So you can prospect, again, either direct potential clients or linkers. And it would be great. You could imagine having an Excel page with a list of 100 potential prospects on it. Great place to start as a small business owner. Just do it out of your head. Prospect. Who are some of the people that I'd really want to see and hear and understand my message? That second element, establishing a dialogue, is where I think you really get to make use of the concept of frequency. So what I would do is put together some kind of a set of steps. How am I going to establish my message with these folks? And again, here's just kind of an off the top of my head example for a kitchen renovation contractor. Step 1 might be I send a handwritten note, a business card, and a brochure to every single one of my prospects. And the handwritten note is really simple, and it just says something like, Kaw Valley Kitchen Renovations, I'm really proud of this business I just started. We do all kinds of kitchen renovations for residential properties in and around Lawrence, Kansas. Let me know if you have any questions about what we do. Not a salesy note, just sort of informational. The second step might be a follow-up phone call. And again, I'd just make a really simple phone call. Hey, did you get the brochure and the business card that I sent you? You didn't? Okay, well, I'll send you another one. Or, you did? Do you have any questions about what we do? Okay, thanks. Have a great day. The third step might be some kind of an article that I would send them. And maybe it says something like, did you know that homes with renovated kitchens tend to sell for a higher price and they tend to spend fewer days on the market? Do you think you could use Google and find an article that somebody wrote that said something like that? I bet you could. I bet you could find 3 or 4. You might even find something that talks about new innovations in kitchen renovation and design. And so maybe some of your linking prospects, the real estate agents, might get the article that says that homes with new kitchens sell faster and for a higher price. Maybe some of your actual residential clients might get something that talks about innovations in kitchen renovation design. Maybe step 4 is another follow-up phone call. Hey, did you get the article? Do you have any questions about that? Really interesting, wasn't it? Have a nice day. Step 5, maybe some kind of an email, if you can get an email address, just some kind of a check-in or follow-up. So if you put this into practice, again, you can imagine this list of 100 prospects on your Excel page, and then maybe you've got 4 or 5 columns, and realize that this process takes a lot of time. And so you might separate them into groups of 10, maybe even 5. And so week 1, all you're going to do is send that first package to your first 10 prospects. It's got a business card, a brochure, and a really simple handwritten note. Week 2, you're going to make the follow-up phone call. Hey, did you get what I sent you, the business card and the brochure? Do you have any questions about what we do? And then you're going to send the email and the business card to your second set of 10. Week 3, you're going to send the article to the first set of 10. You're going to make the follow-up phone call to the second set of 10. You're going to send the first mailing to the third set of 10. Week 4, you're going to make the second follow-up phone call to the first ones. You're going to send the second, or you're going to send the article to the second ones. You're going to make the first follow-up to the third ones, and you're going to send the first package to the fourth set of 10. Does that make sense? I hope so. And then you're going to have this sort of rolling list of prospects. As you meet new people and you think they belong on the prospect list, you go to chamber events, you go to ribbon cuttings, you go to networking groups like BNI or Douglas County Connections. You meet people, you add them to the prospect list, you work them in, you follow the 4 or 5 steps that it takes to establish a dialogue. This is not an easy way to do business, but it's a thorough way. It's a way where you control the message, you're proactive, you control the frequency, and I think that it's a lot more likely to pay dividends than a really simple advertising and marketing strategy, especially for a business that involves a complicated set of purchasing decisions. So understand, as a small business owner, that it's very likely that the purchasing decision you're trying to influence is fairly complicated, and the best way to do that is through selling and selling strategies. A couple of books that I'd like to recommend. The first one is called Small Message, Big Impact by Terry Shoden. The second one that I really like is called Marketing for Solos by Gina Poole. And the third one is called The Accidental Salesperson. It's by a guy named Chris Lytle. There is a lot to this selling process, more than I can give you in 10 or 12 minutes worth of video. But if you read some books like that, I think it will give you a lot of really good ideas, not just about how to sell, but specifically how to sell for a small business. How does an entrepreneur impact sales using these type of strategies? I hope that's been helpful for you. This is actually section 12. It's the last of our videos, and I appreciate your patience if you've watched this far. I hope that you have found this series to be helpful and informative. Please get in touch with me and let us know if and how we can help you. Thank you.